The story that we are breaking right at the very top, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a short while ago spoken to the Chief Justice of India, Bihar Gavai. This on a day when a shoe was hurled in the open court against the Chief Justice. The Prime Minister has made it clear that the attack on the Chief Justice has angered every Indian. There is no place, he says, for such reprehensible acts in our society. The Prime Minister says the attack on the Chief Justice is utterly condemnable. Rahul Gandhi too has dived in, says hatred has no place in our nation. Sources say that Chief Justice of India doesn't want action against the lawyer. The Bar Council has already suspended the lawyer Rakesh Kishore, a septuagenarian, so someone who's been experienced in the court. The lawyer has claimed he won't tolerate the insult of Sanatan Dharma. This follows a observation made by the Chief Justice in a case involving a Vishnu idol a couple of weeks ago. Joining us now is Anisha Mathur, legal editor who tracks the Supreme Court for us. Anisha, give us a sense now of what the Chief Justice is and what the Bar Council and the bench have decided. Is this incident now forgotten, or is there going to be an attempt to order of some kind of an investigation into it?
Well, Rajdeep, these are two separate actions that can be taken. The Chief Justice, because remember when this man hurled whatever he did at the Chief Justice's dais, he was immediately apprehended. On that, because the Chief Justice would have had to pass directions to register an FIR or take any action or even register a contempt of court case against him, the Chief Justice has reportedly told senior officials, and this is coming to us from senior officials of the court, that please just ignore it, things like this keep happening, we don't want anything. However, since this was an action undertaken by a lawyer inside the Supreme Court of India premises, the Bar Council of India has stepped in. They have issued an order to suspend his license as a lawyer at the moment, and at least for the next 15 days. This person, Rakesh Kishore, cannot appear before any court or tribunal. He cannot claim to be a lawyer. His license is suspended. In fact, he's been issued a show cause notice as to why he should not be permanently disbarred in India. We've already also been speaking to the Bar Council of Delhi as well as the Bar Council of India representatives. They're saying that they will be taking the strictest possible actions against this person because he has done what he has done as a lawyer, as an officer of the court, which is completely unacceptable. And Rajdeep, if you look at the statements that have come out from the Bar Council, from the Supreme Court Bar Association, from various bar organizations in the country, there has been an absolutely unequivocal condemnation of what has been done. In fact, the Bar Council has also said that they will be taking action. The Karkaduma Bar, where this person is a bar association member, has also said they will be taking some action. Investigation is being done against him and a show cause notice has been issued. So while the Chief Justice has chosen not to take the actions that he is entitled to take against this person who attacked him, the bar is in fact taking action, and that is what we're being informed. Rajdeep.
And joining me now is one of the country's leading lawyers, former Attorney General and Senior Advocate Mukul Rohde joins me. Appreciate your joining me, Mr. Rohde, on what is really a very sad and unfortunate day. Did you ever imagine that a day would come where a shoe would be thrown at the Chief Justice of India inside the open court?
Well, Rajdeep, it is very unfortunate, but I remember one incident about 25 years ago when a shoe was thrown at a sitting judge of the Supreme Court, not Chief Justice, but another judge, Mr. Justice Pasayat. And in fact, in that case, there was a difference of opinion between the two judges. One judge said that he should be sent to jail for contempt, and the other judge said that sometimes the frustrations rise in this fashion, maybe of a person who's without job, etc. So we should look at it that way. That happened in that case. But as far as today is concerned, what is shocking is that it is a case of a lawyer. The man who threw the shoe was a lawyer, and he was a lawyer of about 70 years of age. He stood up in the court and threw the shoe in a very calm kind of a manner, I am told. He was not agitated as such, as the other case that I was mentioning. That is shocking. I can understand somebody who's completely frustrated, maybe without a job, who's fighting his case, or who's lost his house, or lost his money, or lost his family, and is in a state of depression or frustration. But I don't expect that of a lawyer to do that. But I must say full marks to Honorable
But
the Chief Justice.
what is,
Go ahead, go ahead.
you know, the Chief Justice kept his calm and has chosen not to push ahead with the case. But what is even more shocking, Mr. Rodgi, is that the lawyer screamed, India will not tolerate the insult of Sanatan Dharma. So in a sense, he was using the courtroom to target Justice Gawai for comments and observation that Justice Gawai had made in another case about a Vishnu idol. So that seemed to bring in politics into the courtroom. That is troubling many people, because it suggests that tomorrow, if I don't agree with the political observation of a judge, I will throw a shoe at him.
Now, you are absolutely right, Rajdeep. Now, as far as the Chief Justice is concerned, I must say full marks to him. I appeared in his court soon thereafter in another case. He was absolutely cool, calm, and composed, which is very, very a rare quality. And he shrugged it off the shoulders of the court and of justice. And dispensation of justice are broad enough. He showed to the public at large that these things don't disturb me, and he went on with hearing at least 30 or 40 cases thereafter. So full marks to the judge, and I'm told he also said later he does not want to press any charges because this is a gross case of contempt. Apart from other, problems, he would have been sentenced to 6 months under the Contempt Act straight away. But the Chief Justice declined, and I think this is the highest traditions of the judiciary, and full marks to Honorable Chief Justice is what I would feel straight away. Now coming to your second limb, you see, judges make observations because there is a system of a dialogue between a judge and a lawyer. It happens in every case because unless you have a dialogue, the court doesn't understand your perspective. So they ask questions, they make observations. But a court's judgment is only that which is written on paper, not these dialogues. And unfortunately, you see, the press and the media also pick up these dialogues, and these dialogues are printed with breaking news. Dialogues in court, which is not a part of the judgment, mean nothing. Very often, I have had cases where the interaction showed that I am going to win the case, and I would go back satisfied, but finally you lose the case. So you go by what the written word is and not by this dialogue. And what the judge said, in what context. How can this lawyer come and say, oh, well, this means that Sanatan Dharma is being violated and all that? Was it a case? I don't know. Maybe
No, that's because Mr. Rodgi of the surround. That's because, Mr. Rodgi, that's because, as you said, the media and indeed the social media in particular now has social media armies which will target the judge tomorrow as anti-Hindu. And therefore, or tomorrow, if it was some other case, someone would be classified as anti some other religion. And that is the fear, that you are creating divides in society, and those divides are now reflecting in a courtroom. How does a judge then even make observations if the moment he says something, the entire social media gets together and targets him?
You are absolutely right. This would sully the course of justice. It would stifle debate and discussion in the court. Every day we do cases. You see, there may be a case of a burial ground. There may be a case of a church. There may be a case of a dispute between Hindus and Muslims, or so many other, communities. I have done cases of one branch of Christians against another branch of Christians. The Syrian, those Syrian church cases from Kerala. Now, those disputes are going on for the last 100 years. 100 years they are going on as to how will it be performed, what will be the position. So a judge takes one view and tomorrow he says, no, he's taking the view of this side or that side. This is absolutely wrong. And I think the lawyer was politicizing the issue. and maybe using the court as a platform to vent his grievances. Now, if he has grievances, he can jolly well go to Jantar Mantar and say whatever he wants to say. The courtroom is not a place or a forum for a public speech, or you see, antagonizing judges and trying to.
But how would you respond, Mr. But how would you respond, Mr. Rodgi, if I said the bar has itself got politicized? Some of the resolutions, the statements that come out of the bar suggest a politicization. So the politicization is taking place within the bar, and that is now affecting courtrooms functioning.
I entirely agree with you. Everybody must be circumspect. One should know, as lawyers at least, of what to say in court, outside court. Lawyers, but I'm sorry to say, there is no training of the young lawyers as to what are court etiquettes, how much to be said, what not to be said. I mean, we have to have some introspection there. And I think the Supreme Court bar should take a lead in this fashion. Today, for example, a youngster who passes law straight away can appear in the Supreme Court without knowing any practice, any rules, any procedures, any etiquettes, or the decorums of the court. I have seen young lawyers telling the Supreme Court that please pass over the case because my senior is busy in the High Court and he will come here. When I joined the bar, this was blasphemy. You could never tell the Supreme Court that a lawyer is busy in a court below the Supreme Court. But today the youngsters don't know because this is
sir,
not.
But I'm talking about senior members of the bar also, sir. Senior members of the bar who also take positions. Let's be very clear. The bar is getting politically divided. That's my point.
I would say, Rajdeep, I would regretfully agree that this is happening. It should not happen as at all. The bar is nothing but a collective of lawyers. The lawyers are answerable to their clients. They represent their clients. They have to do their best. And as officers of the court, they have to respect the court, address the case and only the case, and not have any other hidden agendas. I mean, one may be sympathetic as a lawyer to one party, but against one party, but it should never ever appear in court.
Right. My final question to you, do you believe the law minister and other senior jurists should come together and make sure that certain rules are set in frame? I know that the particular advocate has been suspended by the Bar Council. Do you believe we need stronger statements now from the law ministry and indeed from jurists to ensure that we don't see a repeat of this?
I would say this is the need of the hour. Senior members of the bar, senior members of the judiciary, senior members of the law ministry and other stakeholders should come together and write down a few simple do's and don'ts. And that would probably ensure that these things are not, repeated in any court, much less the highest court in the land.
Okay. I want to leave it there, Mukul Rohtgi, for coming and speaking so plainly as ever. I appreciate you joining us. This is a very sad and unfortunate day in the history of our judiciary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me give you my take on this issue. What happened in the Supreme Court today is deeply, deeply regrettable. That a lawyer should throw a shoe at the Chief Justice of the country inside an open court only because he was angered with the judge's observations on a case involving a Lord Vishnu idol is an ominous sign. It reflects the growing intolerance and failure to truly understand true Sanatan Dharma. In its purest form, Sanatan Dharma is inclusive and diverse. Sadly, toxic politics and social media tropes have reduced the philosophical underpinnings of Sanatan Dharma into a religious war. This fanaticism has now played out in the highest courtroom of the land. Introspection is therefore called for. India's constitutional values must prevail over the forces of hatred. Think about it. Okay, let's turn from there to our other big story. And today was a big day for the Election Commission, which has announced finally the dates for the big Bihar elections that are coming up in November. The elections will be held in two phases. It will be held on the 6th of November and the 11th of November. Results will be declared on the 14th of November. 121 seats will go to the polls in the first phase and the balance 122 in the second phase. Importantly, the Election Commission has said that the special intensive revision exercise that drew such controversy in Bihar will now be taken across the country. Let's first listen in to how political parties have responded to the announcement of the dates.
एक बात आज मैं घोषणा कर देता हूं, बिहार विधानसभा के चुनाव में सबसे खराब फिसड्डी परफॉर्मेंस होगा राहुल गांधी और उनकी पार्टी का। ये नोट कर लें। उन्हें देश को समझते हैं ना, बिहार को भी समझते हैं, और जो उनके साथ खड़े हैं आरजेडी, उनका भी परफॉर्मेंस वही रहेगा। एनडीए को प्रामाणिक, निर्णायक, आशा से अधिक बहुत प्रभावी वोट मिलने वाला है और हम विकास की इस यात्रा को आगे चलाएंगे।
वो अचेत अवस्था में हैं, उनकी हरकतों और उनके चीज़ों को हम लोगों ने देखा है। अब वो बिहार चलाने के योग्य नहीं रहेंगे। जो तेजस्वी ने कहा वही ये निकम्मी सरकार जो है, नकलची सरकार जो है, वही चीज़ कर रही है। अपना कोई विजन इन लोगों ने नहीं बताया। बिहार के लोग कह रहे हैं मोदी जी फैक्ट्री लगवाएंगे गुजरात में और विक्ट्री चाहिए बिहार में, ये हरगिज़ नहीं होगा।
लालू प्रशांत किशोर के लिए नहीं, अपने अपने बच्चों के लिए वोट करेगा, अपने बच्चों के पढ़ाई और रोजगार के लिए वोट करेगा, बिहार में बदलाव के लिए वोट पड़ेगा और उस शुरुआत के लिए वोट पड़ेगा जिस सपने को लेकर हम लोग यहाँ आए हैं कि आने वाले 10 साल में इस देश के 10 अग्रणी राज्यों में बिहार को शामिल कराएं। एक ऐसा भी दिन आए जब यूपी, पंजाब, हरियाणा, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र से लोग बिहार में नौकरी मजदूरी करने आए। वैसी व्यवस्था बनाने के लिए वोट पड़ेगा। कोई कितना भी प्रयास कर ले, ये परिवर्तित होने वाला नहीं है।
So who is winning the battle for Bihar? Let's go to another round with our expert psephologists and pollsters. Joining me now, Pradeep Gupta, Chairperson and MD of Axis My India, Yashwant Deshmukh, Founder Director of C Voter, Amitabh Tiwari of political strategist and commentator. Appreciate all three of you joining us here on the show. I'm going to give you 5 X factors and we're going to go almost in T20 style through each of them. Kaun jeetega Bihar? Let's turn to the first X factor. Will the NDA's cash benefit transfers for women and youth be a game changer? The new MY, Mahila and Yuva. Let's go to you, Pradeep Gupta. Do you believe that cash transfers will be a game changer as they were in Maharashtra and indeed in Madhya Pradesh last year and the year before that?
It will definitely impact the outcome of the election.
When you say that, are you saying therefore that Mahila in particular and Yuva are influenced by the fact that the government, the NDA, is giving them cash benefits? Have we reached a stage where this becomes the key game changer? Is this now a new template, Pradeep?
See, of course, template is being played in the past 2 years, particularly we have seen and witnessed that. But in case of Bihar, one very important and interesting point when it comes to the female voters, particularly, you know why? The 5 to 7 percentage points, I am emphasizing on this, women votes more than male because the simple reason is their male member is outside the state for their livelihood. And then in this case, actually it is playing out 45 versus 55. 45 versus 55. So women voter is far more important in case of Bihar, and sending 10,000 rupees at this eve of the election will definitely play some role.
It may play some role, may play a major role. What do you think, Yashwant Deshmukh? Is this the X factor, the fact that Mahilas, more than 1 crore women are getting 10,000 rupees one-time payment by the NDA government? Will this become, like in Maharashtra, a game changer?
This will be the factor, Rajdeep, in this Bihar election. And not because of Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh or Jharkhand or any other example of the Mahila voter that we have seen in the recent past. There is a one big, huge difference between Eknath Shinde, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, or Hemant Soren, or any other chief minister trying to do a one-time payment, one-time thing kind of thing with for a female voter and trying to get away with their votes, because Nitish Kumar is personal history
Okay,
of running schemes, Nitish Kumar's personal history of running schemes for female voters is way too different from all other Chief Minister Rajdeep. 25 years back, he started the cycle free Poshak scheme for the girl child of Bihar. Those kids, those girls who were 25 years given Poshak and cycle are now mothers, homemakers, entrepreneurs in Bihar. The same girls have been given 10,000 bucks and again being given, and many of them will be given 2 lakh rupees in the coming years, for entrepreneurship and everything in between. This is way too different. His emotional connect with those female voters has been
okay.
reignited,
That's a very
rekindled,
interesting
re-underlined.
point, Yashwant, you're making. The girls who got cycles 20 years ago are now adults and they continue to benefit. They are now Jivika Didis, they continue to benefit. But that brings me to my second X factor, Amitabh Tiwari, which is Nitish Kumar himself. Will he prove an asset or a liability to NDA? In 2020, his vote shrunk. He only won 43 seats. Is Nitish Kumar 20 years into power an asset or a liability? Does he bring a clear vote bank and thereby becomes an asset, or anti-incumbency makes him a liability, Amitabh Tiwari?
Rajdeep ji, the basic accounting equation says assets is equal to liabilities plus capital. So any asset is a liability as well. The degree or the extent matters. In terms of assets, he brings the 12% to 15% core vote block of Kurmi Koiri OBCs and the loyal woman vote bank. He is not seen as unpopular. He has a good image, a non-corruptible image, and his last election could gain him some sympathy votes. However, the lack of industrialization in the state and lack of creation of jobs are is the biggest weakness of his 20-year government. And in the last two tenors, when he has shifted from NDA to Mahagathbandhan and then back to NDA, people do see him as being busy in saving his chair rather than doing significant development work. So that's his weakness in that sense.
Right. But if I may then add, and this is the third X factor, Amitabh, which is linked to that, who wins the crucial EBC vote? Extremely backward caste. 26% Hindu EBCs, 10% Muslim EBCs. Now they seem to have, over the last few elections, generally gone with the NDA, particularly when Nitish is with the NDA. So do they go this time to NDA or Mahagathbandhan? Because Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi Yadav are also targeting them. Could this be the key vote bank? Quite apart from the Mahila factor, the EBC factor.
Yeah, so if you see the EBC vote, 26%, 45% went to NDA and 35% to Mahagathbandhan in the 2020 election. Now, this group has 113 subcastes. There is little bargaining power of this group because there's not a single leader caste wise of this group, and they see Nitish Kumar as the leader because he brought in the reservation in the panchayats and the local bodies for EBCs. There is also a trust deficit of EBCs with the Mahagathbandhan because the OBC and EBC joined together to dislodge the upper caste led government of the Congress, but later the Yadav community pocketed most of the powerful positions, which led to the rebellion of the EBCs in 2005, voting for the Mahagathbandhan. Also, a lot of EBCs are very small businessmen or self-employed people, the Vishwakarma Samaj, and for them, law and order is a big, big issue. So the reach out to the EBCs by the Congress, I think, is very late in that sense. However, they need a representation. Both NDA and Mahagathbandhan give lesser number of tickets to EBCs than
Right.
their population. So if the Mahagathbandhan gives a lot of tickets, they could be in a position to woo some of the sections of the EBCs, largely the educated and the youth EBCs. And there's also 52 seats where
Which
the
brings me to my
EBC
fourth X factor. Pradeep Gupta. Can the Mahagathbandhan go beyond its Yadav Muslim core vote? All the polls we are seeing, Pradeep Gupta, show Tejasvi Yadav is the preferred choice for chief minister. But we've seen in recent elections that it's a struggle for them to go beyond their core vote. How do they increase that? Particularly because their allies, especially the Congress, is seen by many as a Kamzor Kadi or a weakling. Unless the Congress pulls its weight, do you see Tejasvi Yadav being able to grow beyond a Yadav Muslim combine? Can he do what we saw Akhilesh Yadav do in UP last year by creating his broader alliance? Is that possible?
So, Rajdeep, yes, what you are saying is absolutely right, because unless Mahagathbandhan as a whole, as a bloc, until unless they get votes of beyond Muslim and Yadav, they are unlikely to win, which is the case in past 3-4 elections. And that is the precisely reason why in 2015 we have seen that the Gathbandhan, that time Nitish Kumar was this side, and they won the landslide victory in 2015, both Nitish Lalu Gathbandhan. But what is the next block? The next block is about 17 to 19% of Dalits, which is very important and significant in that sense. Whichever way the Dalit will vote in the majority numbers is likely to win. It is very simple. But within Dalit also, there are three categories. One is the Paswans, which is about 5%. The second thing is the Jata votes. We call them Jata votes, the Mochi votes, which is about another 5 to 6%. And rest is the other Dalits other than these two blocks. So this is very important this time, in particular, until unless Mahagathbandhan is able to get the lion's share of this 17% of the vote, it is unlikely they are going to win.
Interesting. You believe, therefore, the Dalit vote is critical. Who wins that Dalit vote? Remember, Chirag Paswan, Jitin Ram Majhi, all with the NDA this time, but the Mahagathbandhan also trying to target that Dalit vote, which brings me to my fifth X factor, and I'm going to get all of you to comment on it. Quick comments. Yashwant Deshmukh, starting with you. Will Prashant Kishore emerge as a third force? Can he become the spoiler? Can he become a kingmaker? How do you see the Prashant Kishore factor play out in a state which has been a duopoly between Nitish Kumar and Lalu Prasad?
Well, Rajdeep, he has already emerged as the third force in Bihar. I mean, as far as the traction and the narrative is concerned, you see the majority of the noise on the issues and everything has been made largely by Prashant Kishore only. So he has already emerged as the third factor. How much electorally
No, but can he
speaking
convert that into votes, Yashwant? Sorry, can he convert?
That's
Can he
what the
convert
biggest
visibility and noise into votes?
Absolutely, that's the critical question, and that is where I have my doubts. Simply because Bihar is not Delhi, it is still driven by largely the caste arithmetics and social combinations in place. Can Prashant Kishore cut through that? Can he actually demolish that? Can he actually appeal to big number of youth voters who may be caste agnostic in their way? So that is something which is untested. If he manages to do even slightly over there, it would be historic. I cannot give any number, Rajdeep, because first of all, in a first past the post system, whenever a fresh party, new party comes in, to gauge their vote share and convert that vote
Right.
into a seat, it's virtually impossible. Anybody tries that, good luck to them. We know it is not possible. Scientifically, it's not possible. Second thing, that how much is he doing
Okay.
only one time politics of 2024 or 25, or is he focusing on 2030? That is the biggest game. My feeling is, what I understand, he is playing for 2030 as well. By that time, if he sustains, he will certainly become at some point of time the third factor in Bihar.
Pradeep Gupta, what's your sense? You're smiling. Prashant Kishore, could he be the X factor in this election? And what is that percentage of vote you think he needs to cross to actually become a player?
See, in a triangle contest, if at all it is, definitely he has to exceed the 35%, 33 to 35% of the vote to get get going, but which is very unlikely in the first election itself. But I am coming to the very important point, as you asked later on, which is whose vote he is going to cut. So there are two constituency which is, you can say that he's doing good at this point of time. One is that youth. Now if you see the youth as a constituency, then he is likely to cut the vote of Tejasvi Yadav, because on the NDA no youth is there. In fact, in case of Mahagathbandhan, at least you can say that Rahul Gandhi is there, Tejasvi Prasad Yadav is there, and all that. He himself being a youth, the Prashant Kishore. So in that sense, he is likely to get some vote of youth, which is coming largely on the account of Tejasvi Yadav. The second thing is that he himself belonging to the upper caste, which is he himself is a Brahman. In this case, the upper caste vote generally gets, skewed towards the NDA. In that case, he is likely to get some vote from the NDA, this thing. So whatever vote he gets, he is 100%.
Okay.
What that 100% will be, we don't know. But whatever that 100% of his vote is coming from largely from the youth and from the upper caste of the society, unless Muslims get shift in the bulk.
I have just 30 seconds. I'm going to ask each of you 10 seconds each to predict. Amitabh Tiwari, predict what's most likely to happen in Bihar.
No, see, I mean, it's a close contest with a slight edge to NDA because of the cash schemes which they have announced and the social bloc which they have. And also, Prashant Kishore is largely going to spoil the prospects
of... Close contest with an edge to NDA is what you're saying. Yashwant Deshmukh, what's your prediction as at the start of the race?
Well, if they manage to win again, it will be only because of the traction of among the female voters and connect of female voters of Nitish Kumar. If they are unable to win, largely it will be because of the upper caste consolidation and other youth consolidation for Prashant Kishore. If that backfires for the NDA, they might lose.
Right. Okay. Let me give the final word to you, Pradeep Gupta. Now you have to predict. No smiling anymore. Give me a number or at least give me the direction.
Rajdeep, I does not have any kind of number or prediction whatsoever, but all I can tell you is this. In Bihar, particularly assembly election, we have seen in last 3 to 5 assembly elections, the others, apart from voters voting for these two alliances, in the excess of 20% for sure. Sometime it is 25%, sometime it is 27%. So this 25 to 27% plus another 10 to 15%. There are about 35 to 40% floating voter this time in Bihar. Even they doesn't know whom to vote at this point of time. So I keep my...
Okay, Pradeep Gupta, by using... You are putting your money in your pocket. You are playing safe, as we all are. As we can sense, Bihar can always throw up surprises. So pollsters are also playing safe. We'll wait and see what happens in the Battle of Bihar. But good to have all three of you on the show tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to turn from Bihar, to a complete shift in focus. What should have been relief for a common cold has turned into a silent killer in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. A bottle of cough syrup trusted by young parents and their children has now sadly left behind graves instead of giggles. Families in Madhya Pradesh are mourning the death of their children. Today, the government acted against the doctor who gave the cough syrup in Chhindwara. But what of the regulatory agencies? What indeed of the pharmaceutical companies? Who will be held accountable? Take a look at the cough syrup killer story.
उसकी याद हम कैसे भूल सकते हैं? मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि दोषियों को सजा मिले। उनको नहीं मालूम था कि हम ये दिन आज उसका मरण मनाना पड़ेगा।
Who would have thought that a bottle of cough syrup could turn killer of kids? Young lives in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan are lost. The home of 3-year, 11-month-old Usaid is now filled with silence and sorrow. His father Yasin, an auto rickshaw driver, sold his vehicle to pay for his son's treatment. spending over 3.5 lakh rupees, but still unable to save the child's life. Yasin said that when his son fell ill on August 21st, he took him to a local doctor, as usual, who prescribed cold reef cough syrup. After taking the syrup, Usaid's condition only worsened.
तो यही सोच रहे थे कि उसको नॉर्मली फीवर आया है, इस वजह से हमने इलाज करवाया। अब ऐसा क्या मालूम था कि इतनी बड़ी बीमारी हो जाएगी उसको। उम्मीद बिल्कुल नहीं थी कि इतनी बड़ी बीमारी हो जाएगी।
अब क्या करते हैं आप?
मैं ऑटो चलाता था। ऑटो तो खैर बेच दिया इलाज के दौरान।
कितना खर्चा हो गया इलाज में?
3.5 लाख रुपए समथिंग खर्चा हो गया।
The child's mother and grandmother broke down while speaking about his upcoming birthday, where he would have turned 4.
खिलौने उसके पापा आज ला रहे, थोड़ी देर में तोड़ तोड़ के फेंक दिया। साइकिल बुलाया, उसको भी तोड़ के, और वो हैंडल ले लेके घूमता था। सब याद आती ना बहुत। सुबह उठ के मेरे को ही तो उठाता था वो।
बहुत याद आती है, हर पल आती है।
कोसती हैं आप उस घड़ी को जब आप अपने ये इसके लिए दवाई उसे दी थी?
जी कोसते हैं हम खुद। अपने हाथों से जहर पिला रहे थे, अपने बच्चे को स्लो पॉइजन दे रहे थे। दिन ब दिन उसको मौत के मुंह में ढकेल रहे थे हम हमारे हाथों से देते थे। हमें नहीं मालूम था कि पॉइजन दे रहे हैं हमारे बच्चे को। ऐसा मालूम होता तो हम क्यों देते।
Then there is 5-year-old Adnan. His father runs a small customer service center in Chhindwada's Parasia. He borrowed money from neighbors and friends but could not save his child.
ऐसा गोद में लेके आए हो सब, मैंने अपनी औलाद को जरा नहीं जाता सर। ये हमारी तकलीफ हम जानते हैं सर कि हमारे साथ क्या बीत रही है। अब हम क्या बताया सर, रिजान नहीं कर पा रहे। हमारे बच्चे की एक ही चीज़ याद आती है सर, लेकिन हमको ये नहीं पता चला कि किडनी किस बेस में इन्फेक्शन हुई है। ये हमको पेपरबाजी से पता चला कि हम सिरप के चलते ये हुआ है हमारे बच्चे को।
आप क्या एक्शन की मांग करते हैं सरकार से, क्योंकि आज मुख्यमंत्री भी यहाँ पे हैं?
ये कि जो है सर, आप माफी मारे, उनको बुलडोजर चला दे रहा है, उनके घर तोड़ दे रहे। इनके घर क्यों सलामत है? इनको भी टूटना चाहिए, इनको बेदखल करना चाहिए।
बुलडोजर चलना चाहिए, मतलब
चलना चाहिए बुलडोजर, उनके घर में बुलडोजर चलना चाहिए।
Shattered families are now seeking justice, asking who killed our kids. With Ravish Pal, Bureau Report, India Today.
Simple question. Who should be held accountable for these cough syrup deaths? The doctors, the drug manufacturers, or indeed the regulator? Joining me now, Dr. Divyan Singh, President of the Residents Doctors Association, KGMU, and Dr. Nihar Parekh, a leading pediatrician. I appreciate both of you joining us. Let me come to you, Dr. Parekh. Who do you think should be held accountable? A doctor sitting in Chhindwara who's today in jail? Or should it be drug regulators, or should it be the pharma companies?
Rajdeep, is primarily, let me start by saying that it's highly unfortunate for something to happen. Now, it's very important to understand what has gone wrong. It's the basic cost-cutting mechanism of a pharmaceutical company to make cheap drugs and increase their profit margin that makes them use industrial grade ingredients rather than pharmaceutical grade ingredients. And that's the main reason why this contamination of using industrial grade polyethylene glycol, which is contaminated by diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol, also known as DEG and EG, which otherwise would not have been present if pharmaceutical grade polyethylene glycol was used in these cough syrups. The reason why is because pharmaceutical grade is way more expensive than industrial grade. The manufacturing company, to cut costs, to increase profit margins, has used the industrial grade, and this is not the first time this has happened, actually.
So you're saying the pharma companies, to cut corners or to cut costs, have deliberately contaminated the syrup?
Not deliberately. Their job, their whole motto was to procure cheaper ingredients And when cheaper ingredients are being procured, even before it goes to the hands of the pharmacist to be prescribed by the doctor to the children, it has to go through checking protocols which were not followed, costs were cut there, money was not spent to get a green signal from bodies that are supposed to quantify the amount of DEG or EG in the syrups. And hence, eventually, all these cost cutting mechanism reaching the doctor, maybe incentivizing the doctor to write these of uncharacterized or low grade brands, and it's an entire chain of responsibility that has to start from the manufacturer to the doctor.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Divyan Singh there. For Dr. Divyan Singh, the Indian Medical Association has come out strongly in support of the doctors, saying they are being scapegoated. Do you believe that the doctors are being scapegoated? Do they have no responsibility, accountability at all?
Rajdeep ji, if we have to look at this incidents technically, so I totally agree with the Indian Medical Association. Why? Because we are talking about a substance that was added to the medication. We are talking about this DEG, which is not supposed to be there in the medications. Now we have to understand that as we are prescribing a medication as a doctor, we cannot see through the medication that what is present in there unless it is not present on the label. So when we are talking about DEG is not supposed to be there in that cough syrup. I will add to what my colleague Dr. Saab said.
So you're saying the
just
doctor,
20 ml.
You're
just
saying you
20,
cannot blame the doctor. How is he to know that you're saying how can the doctor know that that particular medicine he's giving is contaminated? Do you agree with that, Dr. Niyar Parikh? It's unfair to blame the doctor in the system. And can you blame the regulator at all?
So what happens is once it's available in the pharmacy, I think the responsibility of the doctor does not exist, because I feel that if it's there, the medication has been represented to the doctor by the company. We focus on the sickness, the ingredients in the medication. But I, as a doctor, always believe that the better the brand, the more reliable the brand, lesser the chances of these falsely used ingredients, lesser the chances of good companies cutting costs. I agree that a doctor's responsibility is not to make sure that the medication contains all clear ingredients, but as a doctor, it is my job that the brands that I prescribe to my patients are of companies that have been known for years. Maybe the drug is a little expensive, but not at the cost of losing a child's life.
I think those are words that hopefully will echo. Maybe someone out there will ensure that the pharma companies that are cutting costs and thereby possibly costing lives are also held accountable. In this case, remember, it's a company from Tamil Nadu and they must be also paying the price. Human lives cannot come so cheap in a country like ours. I appreciate the two doctors joining me on the show today. I want to stay with the doctor's story because a late night fire in Jaipur's largest government hospital has left at least 7 people dead and exposed shocking lapses in safety. Outrage is mounting, so are many questions, particularly as there are allegations that the hospital staff fled the scene. Take a look at Get Real India.
A devastating fire tore through the intensive care unit of Jaipur's Savai Mansingh Hospital late Sunday night, engulfing the trauma center in thick smoke and flames. Family members, desperate and terrified, were seen carrying patients, some still on their beds, onto the streets in a frantic bid to save lives. The blaze claimed multiple lives and exposed shocking safety lapses at Rajasthan's largest government hospital.
India today is inside the intensive care unit of Swai Mansingh Hospital, which got engulfed in fire because of short circuit. You can see the telltale signs of the fire that engulfed this entire portion. Even though attempts were made by several of the people who had arrived later on to move them out of this area, but clearly some of the patients could not survive the fire that engulfed, and allegedly the hospital authorities were unaware of the magnitude of the fire that had engulfed the ICU.
Reports revealed the fire spread rapidly, filling the ICU with smoke within minutes. Family members accused the hospital of gross negligence, claiming warnings about smoke were ignored. Staff fled the scene, and fire extinguishers were either missing or non-functional.
The family members of the patient mentioning that there was no one from the hospital staff present inside the intensive care unit to try to save some of the lives which probably could have been saved had the hospital staff acted in time.
At the time of the incident, 210 patients were in the hospital, with only one staff member on duty in each ICU. Families accused the administration of trying to conceal the extent of the disaster and the dead bodies.
अपनी जान को जोखिम में डालकर आदमी जा रहे हैं और ये हॉस्पिटल का स्टाफ है ये भाग रहा है अपनी जान बचाने के चक्कर में।
तो हमारा भतीजे ने फ़ोन किया था कि चाचा जी ऐसे करके आग लग गई है इसमें और सारा स्टाफ भागा जा रहा है इसमें और धुआं ही धुआं हो रहा है इसके अंदर में और हमारे मरीजों को छोड़ छोड़ के स्टाफ पूरा बाहर भागा जा रहा है।
डॉक्टर और जो नीचे काम करते हैं कंपाउंडर वो सब निकल गए थे। फिर अचानक से इतनी दुआ होगी कि पेशेंट को निकाल नहीं सकते, क्योंकि फिर भी 4-5 पेशेंटों को निकाले।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his condolences and wished a speedy recovery to the injured. Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma visited the hospital to take stock of the situation and ordered a swift investigation, tasking a committee to examine the cause of the fire, hospital safety protocols, response efforts, and steps to prevent such tragedies in the future. This disaster is a burning question mark on the safety of those who put their trust in our healthcare system. With Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, tension has grabbed North Bengal's Nagarakata area. This after a BJP MP there, Khagen Murmu, and MLA Shankar Ghosh were attacked by a mob while they were visiting the flood-affected areas. Video of the incidents have surfaced with the bloodied BJP MP's face, his car windshield shattered, emerging along with MLA Shankar Ghosh, who also suffered minor injuries, and his clothes were torn. The attack has raised political temperatures in a state that goes to the polls next year. The BJP says the TMC government has orchestrated the attack and it's a symbol of Jungle Raj in the state. The TMC, for its part, claims that there were locals who are angry with the MP and MLA who were responsible for the attack. But clearly, this attack has pushed the Mamata Banerjee government on the back foot, particularly at a time when you would expect political unity, because over 20 people have died in the landslides and incessant rain and floods that have gripped Darjeeling and much of that part of the country. Today's ground report comes from Darjeeling.
Flash floods and landslides triggered by relentless rains have left a trail of death and devastation in Darjeeling and Jalpaiguri districts of West Bengal. Mirik in Darjeeling is the worst hit. In Sorini village in Mirk, 4 members of a family died as boulders buried their house.
This is the house where 4 occupants were inside when suddenly flash flood came and suddenly the boulders fell and when those 4 occupants tried to come out of their residences, they went under the debris. Efforts were made to take them out, but finally they could not be taken out.
Some of the
people called us to like rescue the other people, but at the night time we was not able to rescue them. 6 people was buried here alive. Among them, 2 of the child was rescued and rest 4 was died on the spot.
The Dudhia Iron Bridge that links Midik and Kurseong collapsed in the flash floods, cutting off many villages.
कल जो घटना घटी सबसे पहला हमारा एफर्ट रिहेबिलिटेशन एंड रेस्क्यू में था। जो फंसे हुए थे उनको हम लोग निकाल पाए, काफी लोग इंजर्ड थे उनको हॉस्पिटल पहुंचाए हम लोगों ने। फंसे हुए टूरिस्ट को लेकर के जो डिस्ट्रेस में थे उन लोगों को लेकर के हम लोगों ने हेल्पलाइन नंबर चालू किया। वी वर सक्सेसफुली एबल टू इवैक्यूएट पीपल जो जाना चाह रहे थे वापस दार्जिलिंग से बाहर।
A few buildings near the bridge suffered damage.
2:30 बजे पुल गिर गया, तभी हमको डर लगने लगा क्योंकि पुल में ब्लॉकेज होके पानी आने लग गया ना घर पे। तो हम लोग तो 3 बजे यहाँ से निकल गए, कहीं सेफ जगह में जाके रहे। फिर सुबह आया तो सुबह घर पूरा ले गया था।
While the Met Department has forecast rains in North Bengal till Tuesday, it has projected a dip in the intensity of rainfall. With Tapas Kumar Sen Gupta, Bureau Report, India Today.
Sad thoughts and prayers there with the people of Darjeeling. Now, while you have incessant rainfall in some parts of the country, even in the first week of October, guess what? Other parts of the country, including Gulmarg, Uttarakhand and Kedarnath, are experiencing the first snowfall of 2025. That's the kind of climate change that we are seeing in this country. Heavy rains and floods in some parts unexpectedly and early snow in other parts. That's why climate change is here to stay. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar. News without the noise. Bye for now.